Thank you for joining me today. In this video we are explaining the SSH password authentication slider, the SSH service slider, and the Samba file sharing slider. In order to explain what the SSH service is, let's begin with the remote shell. SSH is a tool used to establish a secure, remote shell with another computer. In order to explain what a remote shell is, we must first explain what a local shell is. In order to explain what a local shell is, we must in part explain what a computer is. Working from the center outward, a computer is comprised of hardware layer, a kernel layer, drivers and input-output hardware support, shell and user space. Depending on the operating system, this user space can vary from simply being a TTY connection or shell, which is what HOMESERVER offers as its only way to directly interface with the machine. User space is what most people are familiar with. All graphical user interfaces exist in user space, and these graphical user interfaces operate identically to shell commands. A shell is simply a way the user can interface directly with the kernel. When you interface directly with the kernel, you can directly control the hardware. When you change directory in your shell or in your default file explorer, both issue a command to the kernel and receive a signal back. All computing is merely an interface to act on the hardware. The shell lets you speak instructions directly associated with hardware configuration through the kernel. From installing a program to deleting a file, a remote shell lets you interface over the command line on a remote computer, ideally securely. How do we do this securely? We can see on the admin tab our password authentication for SSH is enabled. This means we can use the admin password to SSH into the home server. By default, the admin password is the FAK or factory access key. This is the password printed on the top of your device. We can SSH in like so. However, passwords are not the most secure. Here you can see if one of our services becomes compromised, the log file can be used as an attack vector. Using an SSH key is much more secure. We recommend using SSH keys and turning off password authentication once set up. We begin to set up an SSH key. We open a local shell. We run the SSH keygen utility to generate a new key. It's going to ask us to generate a new passphrase. This passphrase is only used for this specific SSH connection. We are next going to set an alias in our SSH config, so we can conveniently use this SSH key. We confirm our passphrase. We send to our SSH configuration file our new identity. You may not need this step if using the default configuration file locations. This alias will allow us to the home demo as the target we're connecting to. Next we move the public key to the server. Our SSH password is the HOMESERVER admin password. By default, this is the FAK or factory access key as printed on the top of your device. We enter our admin password. We have successfully added our new SSH key to our home server. Next we attempt to connect to the server using the new SSH key we just made. We use our secure passphrase, and we can see we have access to our Debian home server. We return to the home server admin tab. Turn off password authentication. Now our SSH connections are truly secure. This portion of our home server setup is complete. Looking at our remote shell, you may notice that each home server comes with a suite of software to make the SSH experience more pleasant. These are stored in the .dot files that come with each device. We do not control your .dot files once created. We will cover what's been added in a future video. Return to our admin tab. Samba file sharing is next. What is Samba? The SMB protocol, previously called Common Internet File System, or CIFS, is commonly how you have accessed files in a business setting. If you have had the experience where you can connect to a remote computer on your default file explorer, this is how they did it. It is made by Microsoft as a bridge between all operating systems so they can access files conveniently over a network. We type into our default file browser, smb://home.arpa. This is the same if on Mac. If on Windows, this is simply //home.arpa, as per the Samba standard home.localworks. This NAS drive you see being loaded is the physical drive attached to our home server. We now have full access to our NAS as if it were a part of our local file system. The IP address itself works. We use owner and our secure admin password, FAK or factory access key by default. We can access our NAS like this on any operating system. This works on Android and iOS if using a networking-based file browser, easily obtained from their provided app stores. As you can see, there is a wide variety of options to interface HOMESERVER with all of your existing devices, using technology that has been widely available in a business setting but not at home. This connection is available anywhere in the world thanks to Tailscale. This is how you connect over Tailnet. Notice it's SMB rather than HTTPS, but the rest of the URL remains the same. These switches complete the description of our home.arpa management website. We will continue to explain what our HOMESERVER platform offers. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.